And I woke up crying. I was soaked and all kinds of things, and I didn't know what it was about, what it meant. I never saw a naked woman before, and the whole thing about having sex and stuff was so bizarre to me. I was what, 7, 8, somewhere around there. I'm not sure which year it was, but uh, it opened a new world in my reality. Not that anybody told me anything. So, working with this being, I was learning about crystals when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, 10. Uh, Seeing dramatic, beautiful cities and things like that. Uh, but I'm still living in this world, living with abuse and family problems to the max. It was hard. Sure, it helped me escape from it as well. Oh, you made it all up. No, I used to get on my bicycle and start riding, and it would turn into a horse, and I would see my past lives, riding when I was native in different lifetimes as well. So, and I saw I've been there, done it. Uh, so, it started in a very simple way, not that I had any control over it. By the time I was 12, first alien was coming in my house. My friend was over my house with me. We grabbed sticks and things, and we were going to try to beat it up. That's how we were. But at 12, I met with the most famous hypnotist, Kreskin, working, traveling around the world, in the United States mainly, but doing stage shows, and I worked with him a couple times. At 14, I decided to start doing hypnosis myself, and I was hypnotizing all my friends, and they were all into spells. I had each one with a name and everything. At the same time, 14, I became able to become a Protestant, and I went to my minister and asked him the questions. He couldn't answer them, and then I walked away from being a Protestant. But at the same time, I met a woman who was, her boyfriend was in my brother's band, and she was a psychic, channeler, meaning she channeled spirits and things like that. And I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I knew about the channeling and spirits and everything, but I didn't know anything about her. But she was sitting there talking to my mother up in the house, and I went upstairs, and she goes, "You really interested in this?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "Well, how about we do something?" And I worked with her for many years. We started doing multiple things, including ghost spirit release. I became a witch, high priest, and all that as well. She would channel a certain witch, Josette, who was killed in Salem, one of the few women that were really killed there. And I got spells and stuff, only to find out that they were all exactly true spells that they were wrote about many years later. Everything I did in my life wasn't from a book. It wasn't from somebody writing it down, telling me this is what it has to be, or reading it. I didn't read. I read 4 books in my life when I was young. I mean, Call of the Wild, Something Wolf, Fahrenheit 457. I mean, I read one, Valley of the Dolls, because everybody said, "Oh, it's about read this book," and we were allowed to read it in school. So yeah, they're the books I read. That was it. I didn't read on anything else. Reading, I couldn't read. I had a problem reading. I had a problem with words. I had a problem with writing, numbers, letters. So I had lots of problems. So when I started doing hypnosis, I was getting into that. I became a high priest. Oh, Lord of the Flies, I read that too. All right, but I watched the movie too. But so when we got into being this person that I made friends with, we started doing things. She became Ludwig Beethoven. She could play any of his symphonies. I can't say it. And then we started getting into people, the Vikings. I met a young boy and proved that she was right. At the same time, she said, we're going to the Jumo Mansion, and started working with all the souls that were locked in the Jumo Mansion, which there were many. George Washington's headquarters, it was the first house built in the mainland, which George Washington built on the east and west river, so he could see the boats coming into the harbor. And they had cannons set up there and everything, but lots of people died there. I don't want to get into that whole story, but it was another part of my life. because I freed all those spirits. Madame Jumel is the only spirit that will stay there and not leave that house until it's torn down. And when it gets torn down, she'll leave. I'm sure, but I don't think she has any desire to until that happens. But they stripped the house. I just saw a movie on ghost hunters, and they did a show on the Jumel Mansion, saying there's spirits there, and they were trying to measure it and all that kind of stuff. I said they're all gone. Even Aaron Burr's spirit was in that house. Samuel Jumel died in that house. I mean, it was incredibly famous because you could go to the library and pull up books, go to the police department. School buses would come up to the Jumel Mansion, and they would see her standing in a window, and it was a really incredible place. The energy, to me, I always thought was really cool. I always can tune into that energy, and it feels exciting. Not that they were inciting souls. They were pretty well locked up into this prison that they created or had created for them. But yeah, that's how I started. And it's not like I made things up along the way. I proved things, went through it. When I was a witch, when I became a high priest, my covenant, whatever, we created things. My brother's band used to play in the back room, and we used to go down there and peek through the hole in the door and say, okay, let's just throw energy at one person and watch what would happen. I mean, I learned all that. I learned the ins and outs of it, and I realized how powerful it was. I'm not going to say the bad things that happened, but it did, and I realized there's no place for psychic abilities on this planet today. None whatsoever. Except, I mean, there's basically, there's 32 different aspects of them. Now we actually have like 150 words that are psychic words for the abilities, but clairvoyancy, telepathy, ESP, remote viewing, out-of-body, soul travel, all those words. Out of them all, the only one I could never get down, which I wanted to, is levitation. But that's a different story. But I learned them, and they're all real. But they're all dangerous to this planet, dangerous to the people on the planet. Even when I was working, I met Santeria priests and stuff like that. One said he works for the mob, and they put spells on the people that they go into court against and kill them, and all those kind of things. So it's as real as you get. But I'm trying to, I don't have that much time. I want to just try to skip through that. But I went through it. Everything I talk about is real. I went through the experiences to prove them that they're real. I'm not making stories up because somebody else wrote a great story today, yesterday, or 10,000 years ago. Because all that doesn't matter. They didn't know God ever in the old history of any time frame. The Anunnaki didn't understand God. I mean, the reptilians, draconians, all of them didn't understand God. When Atlantis went down, there were 9 races here. 5 of them were spiritual, 5 races left, 4 stayed. The 5 races that left, one of each race became a little god, or deity, whichever word you like. Green Tara, Shiva, Krishna, all of them became little gods, I call them. But the one I had the closest attachment to for all those years, which I didn't learn for many years, was Green Tara. And she's one of the highest deities in Buddhism, Tibet, Hinduism. Both of them accept that deity. They don't accept all the deities, but that's one they do. Except one, they give them 21 faces of Green Tara. She's only one being. You can say she's white, red, green, purple, blue, but she's green. She's of the green race. Krishna was of the blue race. I mean, it's just mankind drawing, creating images, desiring more from it, or trying to make it a better story. So there's multiple things that are going on in my life at incredible speeds and levels. Sure, I wanted love. I was looking for love, got into relationships, and had 3 children disappear by the women I was with. So yeah, it became the desire. Why I came back was part of that. So I don't want to get into that story. Maybe some other time. The true reason why I came back in this lifetime. I didn't have to. I went down when Jesus went down. Why would I want to come back? Reasons that I chose, not that I was forced to. And I wanted to prove the truth about it, which I did. It took me my whole lifetime. to now to truly understand it. Why would people that follow one of the most spiritual beings help kill it? Why? Saying that you love it, I truly love you and want to be with you and all that, and then turn around and help kill that person? I saw it. I watched it. I couldn't understand it or accept it. So yeah, I came back a few more times. Got lost in the transit when I was native. When I was Tibetan, I died young, so I didn't have to go through that whole thing again. And then I became aware of all of it and able to move beyond all of that and say, okay, yeah, it got me to where I am now. And I know where I'm at. And I know why I'm going. I know why I came. So is there anything more important than all that? No. Relationships, growth, and peace and love, all those things are programmed ideas of living on planet Earth. But none of them are real. You're never going to see world peace. And it would be a piece of the action for how long? How long before a fight starts? Any relationship, how long before they have the first fight? Does it last forever? No. It only takes one rotten apple to spoil all of them, which is what happened. And it always happens. So to say we're going to make everybody believe in the same God, do the same things? Really? What moron would say, we're all going to have sex 3 times a day, we're going to eat pineapples for dinner, we're going to have pancakes for breakfast? I mean, what kind of scenario could you create for the world, for the whole world to accept it? Delusional ideas created delusional actions. And now, since people think they're God, don't know God, created this false reality, the world is crashing down. If you don't see it, put on the news one day. Go on AOL and watch the first thing you're going to see. Watch the second and third one. Watch what you hear on the news. There's a shooting almost every day now. Children being killed, murdered by the children. And the abuse is going on. No different. Why do rich people have to break apart? Because they don't know anything about love. Money doesn't make love better, ever. As a matter of fact, it makes it worse, because when you can have everything, you want everything. You no longer, well, I just want one little house, one little person there, one child. No, it doesn't become that. I want to buy a mansion. I want to buy a city. I want to buy an island. So it's the egotistical brain, ego, and programming that stop us from ever getting close to that point. So if you get anything out of today, like what the original title is, do you remember? Can you tell me what the title is? Open your eyes for the first time. Do it. Really open them. Look what you see. What do you see? I didn't get into much, a few other things that I really wanted to get into as well. I feel everything I try to talk about is important. Just it's important to people at different levels. So maybe I'll continue this next week. We'll see what's happening with TJ by then. It's always a pleasure to be able to do this, to be a part of your world for an hour, 2 hours, 5 minutes, as long as you stay on, whatever it is. But I appreciate it. My love back to you. At least you're trying. At least you listened to one word I said. You know, I can get into stories about that too, being able to touch Blue Star children and opening their minds so that they can become that. But just hearing the truth once can make you look for the truth within yourself. So with that, enjoy your day, enjoy your night. Bring it into your reality, your truth. Look for it, find it, become that. Grow within that. And be all you can. Not what everybody else tells you to be, because that's not all you can be. Rich isn't the answer. So with all that being said, I'll say Kadishte. May the light be before you, behind you, above you, below you, wherever you walk. So keep the light around you always. Create a shield for yourself. Learn about protection. So it's the same wherever you go. Keep your protection up. Keep your light shining. No matter what happens, no matter what goes down, You're still